Well, I think it's time for me to retire the old 90 amp flux core wire welder from Harbor Freight and replace it with the Flux 125. So I wanted to make this video just kind of showing you guys. I have put about 50 pounds of welding wire through that machine, and I'm sure it was only meant to have maybe 5 or 10 through it. So I have got my money's worth out of this thing, and the reason that I am getting rid of this is, let me show you what it's welding like. So hopefully you can see these are the welds that I was getting with the 90 amp welder from Harbor Freight. It has a lot of cold roll in it. Like these are very cold welds, and that's not a good weld. You know, your weld should be, I think it's concave, not convex, so it needs to blend in with the, basically melt into the metal, of course. So that was the 90 amp, and then let me show you what the Flux 125 did. These welds are burned in there pretty good, and those look like pretty decent welds to me. Now, I'm not an expert at these. However, I know that those are some weak welds, and this one looks like a pretty good weld. So I changed welding wire to the same, I bought 40 pounds of welding wire, and to weld up 4 of these ramps. I have 4 of these things. I'm done welding all of them. However, this machine I think is losing power. And no matter how much I mess with the wire feed speed and the minimum and maximum settings, I think it has lost a lot of power compared to the titanium Flux 125. So this is an AC welder and this is a DC welder. And if anyone knows anything about welders, DC is far better than AC will ever be. So I think it's time to send this thing off. It just so happens I have a load of scrap to go into the scrap yard, and I think that's the appropriate place for this welder. I don't really want to get rid of this thing, but it's taking up space in the shop, and this little one here is much smaller and lighter. I can pick this welder up with one hand right from the top cover, and there's a handle built into this one. I think this thing weighs like 35 pounds or something like that. It's pretty heavy. So I think by looking at these wire feeds mechanisms, they look to be exactly the same or pretty close to it. So I think what I may do is I may end up saving these in case this one goes bad. I'll save the wire feed off of this one, and the only thing I don't like about this welder is it doesn't have an 8-pound spool. You cannot put an 8-pound spool in this thing. The big one you could. So I've considered, for this little welder, drilling a small hole in the back here and then just feed the wire through to the wire feed mechanism, and just have the 10-pound spool back here, just sitting on the back of it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So another thing, this welder here used to blow the breakers in the shop that I have. And the reason that it would blow breakers was I used to park my pickup truck in here, and here I parked it on top of the electric line. And I wonder if I caused a high area of resistance in the line, because it's only maybe 6 inches down there. But like I said, welding up this one ramp yesterday, it didn't, the breaker didn't trip or anything. I turned down the heat on it, and it seemed to work pretty good. So I'm thinking it's just time to send that one off. But I'll probably save the, I guess that'd be the gun end, save that end, and like the cord is thicker on this new one, so I think that this welder puts out more power than this one ever did, even converting it to DC. I do not like the clamp that I have on this one that came with it, so I'm going to replace it with the clamp that's on this one, I like this big heavy duty clamp, and I'll just take the cord off and everything. So that's kind of my plan for this thing. Like I said, kind of sad to see it go, but I think it's kind of time to send this thing off. Hi, Princess. You gonna be in the video, huh? You gonna be the star of the show? Oh, there's my buddy. This is Persia, in case anyone doesn't know. Also wanted to thank, there was a guy that messaged me on YouTube years ago, and he actually gave me this welder, so I wanted to thank you to who gave that to me. I'm sorry I can't remember your name. I'm terrible with remembering people's names. I'm so sorry. But I absolutely love that welder. That welder there is leaps and bounds better than the old 90 amp one. So thank you again. I really appreciate it. You have no idea how excited I am to use a DC welder. In case anyone was wondering what the transformer looks like in one of those 90 amp welders, there's one right there, and I'll probably get, I don't know, $5 or $10 for that at the scrapyard. I did save some pieces of this welder, the top covers and stuff. I plan on building a 10-pound spool holder to go on this welder, like I said earlier, but drill a hole in the back of this and then have the 10-pound welding wire spool sit there, because I go through, you know, I went through 50 pounds, probably around 50 pounds of welding wire through the last welder, and yeah, that'd be 25 2-pound spools. So I'd have to spool this thing 25 times, and I just don't want to do that. So I may I'll figure out something here to allow me to put either the spool back here, or I don't really want to hack this welder up too much. It's a pretty nice little welder, but I'll have to just figure out something. But there you go. That's the end of a legendary welder. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.